Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is Elise with the Oily Spot community, and tonight we have a very special guest that I'm so excited for everybody to meet. His name is Jonathan Hopkins, and he is one of our newest diamond leaders in our upline. Him and his wife, Laura, are both amazing mentors that I have visited with personally, and I just love their hearts. So I asked Jonathan to share some of his wisdom with you guys today. Just a little bit of his background. He's actually a math teacher and was a basketball coach before joining Laura full-time with the Young Living Ministry as we see it. And now, first and foremost, he is a wonderful father and dad, and then he's an educator to help others, just like us, live the Young Living lifestyle. So without further ado, Jonathan, thank you so much for your time, and we are ready with pen and paper.
Well, that's a lot of pressure, but I tell you, it's a blessing to be able to visit with you guys, and I'll give you a quick background on me. My wife is the brains of the operation, and it I go back, I don't know, 6-7 years ago when we were silvers, and we were at our first silver or our first Young Living reward trip, and I still was not on board. And so when Elise says that I'm here to bring wisdom, most of my wisdom comes from us doing things wrong early, and part of that comes from me because I just wasn't on board with the business side of it. I didn't have anything against MLMs. The problem was I had been a part of 5 others before I joined Young Living with Laura, and so my approach was that the other 5 failed, this will too. And so when she enrolled, it was all about oils, and to be honest, that's what makes this different than other things I've been a part of. This is product driven, and I always use the stat when you look at the 2013 income disclosure statement. 92% of all Young Living members are distributors. Well, and I mean that's the entry level rank, but anyway, that means they're not making any money. That means 92% of all Young Living members are in Young Living because of the product. So if you are senior star, and above, I mean, you are in the top 8% of the company. So hopefully that's encouraging to you that are senior stars and stars. But my point with that being is what makes our company so great is the product. And when we were at Silver Club, it was the first time I was a part of anything that Laura did, and she jokes that says all I came was during the meals, but I actually went to most of the weekend, and I got to hear them speak, and it was really interesting from the business standpoint hearing them talk. But I'll just say this: I was glad to hear Elise shared openly about her faith and praying, and so I'll just tell you, while I was at that convention, the Lord put it on my heart. And he said that if you don't treat this as a business, you're going to waste my money. So I had to start looking at it as a business. So when she says I have wisdom, most of what I have is like I said, it's what not to do, and then from there it's just what we've gathered over the last 7 years or so of being more strategic to build our business. So I think one thing Elise wanted me to share was this weekend we went to Max and Karen is another one of our upline diamonds, only they are our nearest Royal Crown diamonds. Max and Karen are my parents. They are Laura and I's, if I'm saying that correctly. They're our enrollers. We're actually on their 2nd level though. When my mom first got involved, she enrolled my sister Hannah, who was in college or just freshly out of college, and when we enrolled, she put us underneath my sister Hannah so that in her mind we could help her out. So again, I'm getting too in depth here, but in this line it's going to go, we have Amy Wallace, Charlotte Stratus, I think I'm saying it right, and then Elise. So anyway, that kind of shows you where we are genealogy wise to this group. But this is one of our first groups that Laura began and my mom Karen began to grow. So that's why I say it's a special group. And being here in Texas now, we're on opposite sides of Texas, but it also has another special place in our heart because we're Texans together. But when we were at the Go Diamond event this weekend, there was another amazing lineup of speakers, and it's been refreshing. When we went to Deborah Rayburn's, another upline Crown Diamond, we went to her Road to Royal event. She brought in corporate speakers, and then for the first time that I've ever known Deborah, she brought in some crossline speakers. So here recently, some of our events that our upline is putting on they've had some tremendous speakers, which same hand brought some tremendous wisdom, experience, and so that's just kind of what I want to share with you tonight, is a little bit of a recap of what this past weekend was like. And I was able to speak twice, but before I spoke, I kind of talked to my parents, said, where are we going with this meeting? What's the theme? What are we wanting to get the message across? And last month in October was our biggest month ever. When I say ours, it was Young Living's biggest month ever. And I think one of the reasons why was the promotions that they were offering, the free diffuser. And November's on pace right now, is what they shared this weekend. November's on pace to shatter October's numbers. And again, I think it goes back to the promotions that Young Living's offering. But what it's doing, it's creating some excitement and creating some buzz again. And so that's what this past weekend was about, was reestablishing momentum and moving past some of the FDA stagnation. And to be honest, it was a little bit more than stagnation. A lot of groups, including ourselves, our OGVs have shrunk just a little bit from, I think it was beginning last May. And so anyway, there was this new chapter in Young Living's life that it's kind of difficult. And I know a lot of you may be new, so you may not know what I'm talking about, but some of you, if you were around before, we had a whole new model. The way we learned it was find something wrong and fix it. Find something that needs frankincense and give them a bottle of frankincense. It'll fix it.
Yeah.
Okay. Lavender, peppermint, you go down the line. I mean, thieves, we could say, find something wrong and this is going to fix it. Well, moving into the wellness range, it's a whole new model for us. And so that was kind of what we talked about this weekend, was how are other people moving on? How can we move on? And it kind of goes back to a vision. And that's where I want to get started. You know, Gary's vision was, he wants oils in every house in the world. And that is a great vision, okay? And not just, I'm not saying just oils. He wants Young Living essential oils in every house in the world. Well, it was pretty cool when Lindsay Elmore, she's in product education, and she's up there talking, and she said, well, you know what? We're wanting to take that a step further. No longer do we just want oils in every house in the world. We want Young Living essential oils in every room of every house. And to be honest with you, the old model that we were learning from and that we were teaching, it was all about, again, we got to find something wrong before we can fix it. Well, Lindsay's points were, there's an oil for something in every room in the house. Whether it be the bathroom, we've got our Thieves products, and not just to clean, but our toothpaste, our mouthwashes, our lozenges. I mean, I could go down the list, the hand sanitizer. So she did a great job of talking about our thieves line and going through the products in the thieves kits. And right before we did this this phone call or this video, I went to youngliving.com, logged into my account, and noticed that she has a thieves presentation, a thieves slideshow already ready. So if I'm not going to go through and talk about all the products that she did, but one thing I'm going to encourage is there's that slideshow in the virtual office. I would watch that if you're wanting to know how to share compliantly or just to do a meeting. I would get that and open it up, and I would practice. And if there's any questions that come up in your mind, you can research, you can look for it, or get a hold of Elise or get a hold of me or Laura, and we'll walk you through it. But here's what was really, really, really cool. I found it very refreshing this weekend. Both Young Living speakers that spoke, Lindsay Elmore and Walter Newt, both of them admitted faults. They didn't just admit faults personally, they admitted things that Young Living can do differently to help us out. And I mean, to me, that shows growth. On one of the videos on our leaders page I did last month, I talked about reflection. And I was a former basketball coach. The only way to improve is to reflect. And no matter how good something is, something can be fixed. And anyway, so here's what Lindsay said. On those videos, she's put 5 slideshows out there. She's put them, well, she's going to put a video to go along with them of her teaching those slideshows. So I found that very encouraging. But that was a big part of what she did. She talked about master formula first, and then from the master formula, she got into some of the ingredients. Again, there wasn't anything that she presented that was below the wellness line. Wasn't anything that said, if you have this problem, you need to take the master formula. What it was she went through and just talked about the benefits of each ingredient that the team put in there. And then she went on to talk about how the master formula and the Ningxia Red complement each other so well. So again, talking about getting essential oils into every room, well, that Ningxia Red, that's right there in that kitchen. So we're no longer focusing on medicine cabinets and looking at it and saying, hey, let's replace your medicine cabinets with essential oils. What I love about where we're heading is Young Living is saying, how can we get oils in every room of everybody's house? So just something I'd encourage you with is familiarize yourself with the Ningxia Red slideshow in your virtual office and the Thieves slideshow. And if you have questions, that would be a great place to start for us if there's things you would like to do to start teaching classes. I know me personally, when we first got involved with essential oils, Ningxia Red was the only thing that really caught my attention. And Lindsay Elmore, she made the same comment. There's a lot of people who aren't open to essential oils, but they're open to a healthy drink. I saw it as a one-stop shop for me. Hey, at least I'll get something in the morning nutritious. And I mean, I knew my diet was bad, but I at least knew enough that, hey, there's got to be something good in this red drink here. And I even went so far that my favorite oil used to be Thieves. It's still in my top 2 or 3. But I would go so far after I'd heard Laura tell the Thieves story, I'd drop Thieves into my Ningxia Red. So that was my first experience with the oils. And you think about it, how many men out there are in the same position I'm in, where I don't have time to learn about 190 or 200 essential oils. Let me just learn about the Ningxia Red and the thieves. So that was her presentation. Believe it or not, it took almost 2 hours. She had so much information. There's no way that I can go through and recap everything, but I can tell you that for my family, we are never going to run out of the Master Formula vitamins, and we will never run out of Ningxia Red, and the same thing with the thieves. So as you're building your business, really familiarize yourself with some of this stuff that that again FDA is not even able to touch if we're talking about wellness and nutrition. So don't worry though, the vision of the company is not changing. Walter Newt, he was the next guy up after lunch, and he's in charge of operations and IT, senior vice president of operations and IT. And give you a quick background on Walter. He calls himself a nerd, but he's my kind of nerd because he's very process oriented. And he came over. Now he didn't make this announcement, but if you Google his name and you look, he was the chief operating officer for Mona V. And I believe that was one of those healthy drinks, those nutritious drinks. And Mona V was one of the first MLMs that, I mean, they broke all the records, and their growth shot straight up. I mean, and then came crashing down. I think they're still in business. I'm not sure, and I'm trying not to badmouth them, but I know that Young Living, that we now own some of the buildings that they had to downsize from. And so Walter came in with some experience of handling companies that growth shot off the charts. And just like Young Living is doing now, we had a slow 4 or 5 months, but when you take those 4 or 5 months out and you still give us the 5 to 7 months remaining of this year, we're on record. 2015 is going to shatter 2014 records and or numbers. And so it was interesting. Walter came in and he said when he saw the processes, he was just flabbergasted at how random Young Living did some things. And he goes, but to be honest, a big part of it is because the growth happened so fast that, Gary's focus is on getting product and getting farms and being able to handle the demand. There wasn't anything being invested into our operations and IT. So when you see about, I don't know, a year ago, sometimes our wait times were 2.5 hours for customer service. Now it's down to 10 or 15 seconds. And here's the amazing thing, though, that Walter this is how he started the whole thing. He said, we were so screwed up, they called me because we had customer or distributors waiting 2.5 hours. And he goes, I've never seen an MLM company where people are willing to wait 2.5 hours to talk to somebody. He's like, that right there was all he needed to know about the loyal distributors that we had. And he said, anybody that waits 2.5 hours, he goes, he told his people, he goes, I want to work for this company. I want to work for these people. And so anyway, Walter, again, dry sense of humor, but it was so funny. And he's talking about some of the innovation changes that we're making, some of the warehouse space we're adding, some new assembly line belts, whatever it may be that he was talking about. We're investing in our growth, and we're anticipating our growth in 2016 to be bigger than our growth in 15, and so on and so forth. So Walter's job is to make sure product gets out the door on one end, but then he's also on the end to make sure customers are coming in. He goes, we are an internet company, and there's not a single thing we sell that's not off the internet. You can no longer call in and order a product. And so his number one focus after he took care of warehouse and shipping, his number one focus has been the website. So here's one thing I'm going to encourage you. A lot of you guys have great ideas. He said, don't hold them back. There's a comment button or a feedback button on the virtual office, and Young Living pays somebody full time, and he says, you need to give your feedback. And basically this one guy gathers all the information and he puts them in categories and then brings them to them to discuss where we need to go. So he said, if he's told his guy any feedback that he gets that's positive, throw it in the trash. He said, because really what he wants to hear are the things we need to do better. So I'm telling you, it was very, very encouraging for me. I'd never heard Walter Newt talk. I had never heard Lindsay's full presentation of the Thieves, and I'd heard the Ningxia Red, but getting into the Thieves product, and again, when you look at the dishwasher soap, the veggie cleaner that we have, when you look at everything we have in that Thieves line, I think we could build a whole business just off the Thieves line. I mean, if you're just talking about essential rewards being $100 a month, when you talk about laundry soap, dish soap, and all of the toothpaste, the deodorants, when you look at all that, it would be easy to operate a business just off of Thieves. Now, the great thing is we don't have to, but it was refreshing to hear her talk. And I'll say this: I know we keep hyping up our January 23rd event in Mount Pleasant. Again, I know it's a long drive for a lot of you, but we're going to have Lindsay Elmore in Mount Pleasant on January 23rd. And the cool thing is she's going to bring a lot of the similar message, but we get to have her twice on stage, because she said, and this was news to me, but she said she's going to be able to talk to us about some new product that will be introduced in January. So we're going to be one of the first audiences that she will get to present that message to. So, and then the other one we're going to bring in is Richard Carlson, and he is in research and development. He's on the scientific side. So we're not actually bringing in Walter. We wanted to kind of make it a little bit more diverse than so that the people would attend my parents and ours. But again, just why do we have these events? I mean, it was so encouraging to hear the growth of Young Living and the plans that we have to continue growth. We had a couple of questions over the last few months when the FDA stepped in, and the question was, do you think we're going to ever recover? And my answer then was yes, and my answer now is yes. And the only reason why I say that is Young Living over a fiscal year this past year was $1 billion company. Do you think Gary Young wants to lose $1 billion company? There's nobody in the world that wants to lose $1 billion company. So what is our company going to do? Our company is going to make sure that they give us the resources we need to keep this thing rolling. So I want to move on because I don't want to cut us too short. I know the meeting is usually 30 to 45 minutes. I could go on and on about where I see the company going. The excitement of this weekend was just proof of it. The excitement of October with the large orders. In October, our $300 orders, again, that's kind of the order that's kind of a benchmark because you maximize your incentives. In September, Laura and I in our group, we had about 600 orders of 300 or more, and in October we had 1,100. So I don't say that to brag. That's not my intention at all. My point is that's the enthusiasm where we're at right now. We're heading into the holiday season with a ton of momentum and a ton of excitement. And a lot of times the holiday season can be kind of slow for business growth, and it's very understandable. But that's why I'm going to encourage you to talk to the members of your downline about the gifts, the opportunity to give Young Living as gifts. Um, people generally hold some money back in their budgets to go buy gifts. Well, think about purchasing or giving essential oils as gifts. And that may be corny, and it may not be reality, but I can tell you, I went and did a men's health meeting in Arkansas. I can't think of the name of the town right now off the top of my head. They gave me a bottle of Idaho Blue Spruce, and I can tell you that was not a corny gift. So as you're thinking about gift opportunities, or if you're thinking about promoting things to your downline, that's one way to keep the holiday season rolling. But the exciting part is January is generally one of the biggest months of in the biggest months, especially for health and nutrition companies. And that's where Young Living falls. And you think about what comes in January: New Year's resolutions. So again, just for those of you guys that are building, thinking about ways to capitalize on the enthusiasm. I'm not going to mention any other oil company names, essential oil company names. I don't even want to call them essential. So I'm not going to mention any other oil company names, but Elise was talking to me about in her area that some of the other companies don't have to abide by the same FDA rules. Well, actually they do. The difference is because they're not billion-dollar companies, they're not being monitored the same way. But I forgot where I was even going with this. I'm sorry. But all right, I know I'll remember it in a second. Oh, I know what I was saying is just my point there is, as these other people have capitalized on us being held accountable and not them, we need to get back to the roots of how excited we were when we first used Young Living. And we need to think about the frequencies that we are emitting with our attitudes, our willingness to share. More than that, I don't have to tell you what an oil is going to fix. But when I tell you that Young Living essential oils have changed my life, I can do that and be above the wellness line. I can tell you that I believe that these will change your life. And it can kind of seem hokey, but it does. I think when I open a bottle of essential oils and I smell the aroma, right away there's some feeling I get from that aroma. Did you know the FDA cannot monitor or does not touch what we say about the aroma of an oil and how it makes us feel? So when I open a bottle of Believe and I smell that bottle and I get that sense of belief, FDA can't monitor that. And I know that maybe sound kind of corny, but think about your first experience with essential oils. If somebody told you that it was gonna do something for you, there was a good chance in your mind you believed it. So let's say you've got people that are saying, hey, I've got this issue, do you have an oil for it? Well, I'm not going to tell them, well, I can't talk about that, the FDA won't let me. I'll question, I'm going to get a bottle of oil and I'm going to show them a bottle that helped me. And I don't have to give them my testimony, but I can tell them how it made me feel, and I believe it'll do the same thing for you. Again, don't use the terms heal, don't use the terms cure, but there's so much, and I just, every living thing has a frequency, right? And we emit that frequency. And when we let doubt and fear and things we can't say cause our frequencies to lower or to come across negatively, that's the way they're going to be received. So I just encourage you to continue to share, continue to spread a message of hope. Guys, I've been doing this full time with my wife now a year and a half. I've been teaching with her now going on about 3 years. And if I told you, and if I told you God changed my life, every one of you would jump on board, or every one of you would say, I can see that, or yes, you can see the light of the Lord in him. Well, what if I told you that I went and listened to a speaker who motivated me and encouraged me to change my life? And I told you, ever since I went and listened to those guys, I've lost 30 pounds, and I'm on my path to wellness, purpose, and abundance. FDA can't touch it if I say, hey, you know, I went and I heard this stuff. My point is, if a person can change my perspective, which it did, the ULA guys did, but if a person can change my perspective, why can't a bottle of essential oil? So that's what I'm saying. Share with passion, share with your heart, share with purpose, and don't hold back about your beliefs, because your beliefs are what other people are going to see and believe. So hopefully that's kind of encouraging. It's what we saw this weekend was just a room full of believers. And what I'm going to say believers, there was I bet 100% Christians. I don't know it for sure, but my point is that there was when there was praying and there was talking about God, it was received. Okay. But they're believers in God's creation as well. And that's what these essential oils are, is God's creation. And you
Oh man, guys. Well, you know what that was? That was the devil trying to stop God's work. Because he was starting to preach. And that's what I love about it, because he was talking about belief. I fully believe that God, or whoever you want to call your higher power, put everything that we need on this earth to keep our bodies working optimally. Oh, is he coming back? And you know, the belief is so powerful, and it's so important to have, because smelling that bottle of oil did change my life, and it did change my family's life, and Aubrey, who's down here with me playing on the floor, and Allie. So I absolutely love the heart of our team. Hopefully really soon we'll even get to see Jonathan in person, which would be awesome, because they've got so much knowledge to share with us. It's not just oils. It's, you know, how the oils can help change your life and your friends' lives, and getting chemical-free products into your house and your home so that you're better and healthier overall. So we will give Jonathan a minute or two and hopefully see if he can jump back on board with us. He is just an awesome trooper, because I mentioned doing a Google Plus hangout and he was like, a what? But he loves us and he cares about us and wants to help, you know, educate us as well. So he's been a good trooper for us tonight. So hopefully he can jump back on board with us. Jonathan, are you there? Uh-oh. I think we lost you. Let's see if we can get him. This is real world, folks. Let's see. I can't hear. Uh-oh. That's okay. Let's see. We'll give him a couple minutes. So, but we've got some awesome and exciting things that are happening coming on in the near future, and we can't wait to have a big, huge 15-passenger bus and drive to Jonathan's neck of the woods to be able to get that information and that knowledge to help empower us with our family's wellness goals, and that will help us with the wellness, purpose, and abundance. So hopefully Jonathan can come on and say hi to us and goodbye, or final words. We'll see if his microphone's working this time. Let's see. Oh, nope. That's okay. You know what? We'll have him back again, and that is completely okay. It's been 40 minutes, and I told him 45, so I hope that this blessed you guys. Jonathan and I will make a part 2 of this series because I know he still had some really good comments and things that he wanted to share with you guys. But for now, we're going to stop this because we know it's your Tuesday night and you want to spend time with your family. So as always, thank you so much for spending a little bit of your Tuesday with us. God bless and have a wonderful evening. Goodbye.